Joining us on the line also from the Capitol is Republican Congressman Mike Burgess from the Lone Star State of Texas, member of the House Energy and Commerce Committee, which convened today's hearing. Congressman, thanks for making time for us. What did you hear today? Do you feel that Toyota is less or more culpable as a result of what transpired on the floor?
Well, I appreciate you having me on. We've heard a great deal of testimony. I think there's still some legitimate question marks as to whether or not the defect or defects, because there may be more than one, are mechanical, whether they're electrical or whether they're, electronic, or whether it's a software problem. But I think at this point it looks like we're closer to a resolution, and all parties do seem committed to getting to the bottom of this. Certainly the executives from Toyota, Mr. Lentz, was expressed that opinion. We heard some interesting testimony from a Professor Gilbert at the University of Southern Illinois, who had done some experiments and said it's possible that perhaps wires crossing had caused this uncommanded acceleration. Some discussion as to whether or not that's possible in a real-world situation, but it's intriguing information, and certainly NHTSA does need to look into that.
Congressman, I'm gonna throw this issue at you if you can entertain it for a second. There's been some talk that this is sort of in some ways a UAW versus a non-unionized sort of a behind-the-scenes battle going on, because companies like Toyota, basically veered away from the UAW strong states to places like the Deep South, where there wasn't such a strong union movement. Also, the government, trying to be some sort of a neutral third-party unbiased mediator in all this when they have a parental interest in General Motors. I mean, is there a conflict of interest? Is that entering some of the verbiage that's going on, or is this, or can you say with conviction this is simply a public safety issue and everybody wants the right solution and that's all there is to it?
Well, I raised that very issue in my opening statement, but I will say that this hearing is about safety, public safety, getting to the bottom of the problem and getting it solved. I don't think anyone on the Toyota side would deny that they have a problem, and a serious problem, with either electronics, mechanical, or software, and they have a public relations problem because of their perceived slowness in addressing this. However, it's a world unlike one that anyone has ever been in before, where the government owns 60% of General Motors, and the General Accountability Office says the American taxpayer, under the best of circumstances, is going to lose $30 billion on this deal. It does put us in a position where there could be a conflict of issues. The conflict of interest. Now, several people have stated throughout the day that this is not an issue. Mr. Lentz, in fact, from a direct question from former Chairman John Dingell, said that no, there was no influence that was being exerted in this way. And people are going to speculate. I speculated. It is what it is. We should never have bailed out General Motors in the first place, in my opinion. And now this is one of the things that we reap for having done that. It raises a legitimate question as to whether or not we can be a fair and impartial body.
We'll leave the bailout question to another day. That's a whole separate conversation or hour-long debate, as you probably know, Congressman. Finally, let me explore this final sort of angle with you. There's been a certain, it's actually not small, it's a growing constituency of let's not nuke Toyota, especially those states where the car company, along with a lot of other, multinational, particularly Asian car makers, have set up shop, created, in many cases, many jobs, and really been benefactors to large communities. How much voice are they getting at these hearings? And is there a partisan approach to this? Is this a Republican, Democrat kind of an argument going on, or is it strictly nonpartisan?
It's as nonpartisan as we're capable of being right now. How's that for an evasive answer?
Okay.
It has been about safety, and it has been about public safety. Certainly, the people who work at Toyota have been referenced several times during the day as being, through no fault of their own, they're involved in this. The hearing room, and I've just stepped outside the hearing room to take this call. There are many members who are wearing Toyota logo shirts, who apparently work at the company, who've stuck with it all day. We've been at this since 10 o'clock this morning. So it's a good commitment on their part to see this thing through and show their commitment and their involvement. Texas has a Tundra plant. There are various locations around the country that have Toyota manufacturing facilities. As you point out, they tend to be more in the non-union strongholds. I don't know whether that's an issue or not. It's certainly not at home where I live, but are there undercurrents of that? Not that I've seen in the hearing.
Finally, Congressman, I keep saying finally, but I never get to it. You yourself, there's this perception that Texans from Midland, Odessa drive F-150s or huge hulking SUVs. Ain't the case in your case. You're the proud owner of a 2004 Prius. How worried have you been? Have you had everything checked out? Have you had any problems yourself?
Well, first off, I do also own a Ford F-150. Let me be quick to point that out. But I do drive the Prius for daily use. In my area, air quality has been an issue, and that's why I initially purchased it back in 2004. I did take it by the dealer the other day and said, look, they didn't know who I was. I said, look, I'm just concerned because of what I've been hearing. They came and checked the numbers and said, you're not on any of our lists. Have you had a problem? I said, no, I have not. They went ahead, checked the oil and some other things and said, looks like you're good to go. So I was pleased with the level of attention that they gave. Clearly, they took it seriously that they had a customer drive up in their driveway and say, I'm not sure, do I need to be worried? They didn't just dismiss it. They checked it out and said, you're good to go.
Congressman, thank you so much for sharing time with us on what is a very busy day.